A very good morning to my dear class 12 computer science students. But today we will be covering a new topic, that is reading of CSV file. This is the part 2 of CSV files, where we will be doing practical and the theory related to reading in the CSV files. And this will be the last session of file handling. After that this unit will be complete. Okay, so let us start reading in the CSV files. So in reading we need to load the CSV file data, and for that the parsing is to be done. Now what is parsing? Here the delimiters are removed. Delimiters are like tabs, these are your commas, these are your semicolons, okay, or the pipe symbols. These are your delimiters. Delimiters are basically required to separate the data that user is entering. Okay, so in CSV file we have these delimiters. So when we are writing a data, the writer object is putting up the delimiters, and when the file is to be read, content of the CSV file has to be read, then the parsing takes place, and in this parsing these delimiters are removed. Okay, and then after the removal of the delimitations, the loading of the Python iterable means the file that has been where there are no delimiters, that file is loaded into Python iterables. Now what is Python iterables? Python iterables are like your lists, tuples, strings. Okay, so after the delimiters they have been removed, they will be the file contents will be loaded into the Python iterable, that is your list, tuple or string. Okay, then the reading is to be done. Okay, so data is not directly read from the CSV file, rather it is first loaded, then parsed, means the delimiters are removed, then it is loaded into the Python iterables, and then reading from the iterable takes place. Okay, so this whole process can be represented like this, and the diagram is in front of you, and there is a function, that is your csv.reader function. As we have read a writer function, csv.writer function, similarly for performing the reading operation we have csv.reader function. So it returns a reader object, as the writer function was returning a writer object. Here the reader function is returning a reader object, which will load the data from the CSV file into an iterable after parsing delimited data. Means the CSV file contents, means the comma separated values. Okay, the contents will be read from it, and who is going to read? CSV reader object. Why? Because it has to remove the delimiters that were present in the CSV file. And in case of writer, if we compare csv.writer object, what it was doing, it was putting up the delimiters in the file. Okay, and what the CSV reader object is doing, it is removing the delimiters from the CSV file, and then it will load the file into the iterables. Okay, and one more thing, the data is fetched from this object, by this object, one row by row. Okay, so we need to have a loop inside our program, so that one by one each row is to be read by it. Okay, so from the CSV file, the CSV reader object, it is removing the delimiters from the CSV file, and then it is loading the contents of the file into your Python iterables. Okay, so row by row the data will be read out, so a loop is required, and then in Python iterable you will get the data. Okay, so let us now move further. Fine, this is done. Okay, so what are the steps? Firstly, the first step is to import the CSV module. Okay, firstly the CSV module will be imported, then CSV file will be opened up with the help of the file handle in the read mode. Okay, for that we'll be writing the statement like this. Okay, the file handle open function will be taking up that particular CSV file that is to be opened in the read mode. Okay, once it has been opened up, then what we'll be doing, we'll be using the reader function that will use that file handle to read the contents of this particular file, and we may notify the delimiter okay, or it is an optional parameter also. Okay, here is the name of the reader object. Okay, so whatever name you want to give to this reader object, you can give it. So whatever contents that reader function is reading, and after the removal of that delimiter, it will pass it to the reader object, and then this reader object will ultimately pass the contents to the Python iterable. Okay, and then whatever operation we want to do, we can perform. Okay, the reader object stores the parsed data in the form of iterables, and thus you can fetch from it row by row. Okay, this row by row is very important because one by one you will be able to read it. Okay, so row by row you will get the output through a traditional for loop. Okay, one row at a time. So for that we have put a for loop, and it is printing up the records that has been read row by row. Okay, once the process has been completed, then we will close the file also. Fine. Okay, so for that we need to write a simple program, because the method of opening up a file is just similar to the text file. So we can use with statement also to avoid the exception handling. Okay, so in if any of the exceptional handling comes, it will be handled by the open with statement. So one thing I just want to add on, if you are not using any new line character in this open function, new line argument in this open function, then definitely you will face problem like this, that you will not be able to get all these records together, like in between you will be getting out these empty lines. Okay, so empty rows will be there, and you will not be aware of why they are coming. So in order to avoid these empty rows, okay, you need to put an argument in the open function while you are performing the read operation. Okay, यहाँ we need to add one more argument, that is new line. Okay, and whose value is to be kept blank, otherwise it will give this blank line here. And why this happens? Because we have read the concept of that new line. Okay, because every operating system supports different end of the line characters. So in order to suppress that end of the line, we need to use these special characters. These are /r/n for Windows. Okay, in order to suppress that, we need to add this in that opening method. Okay, so /r/n we need to use in our read mode, means open function new line argument. We should specify /r/n, otherwise it will give that blank line. Okay, so let us move back there. So if we are not specifying any third argument here, that is new line, that we have discussed in our previous videos also. So new line we have to specify, and that value should not be put inside it. Okay, this new line argument has to be there in the open function to suppress the end of the line translation, otherwise it will happen. Okay, so we need to add /n/r in the argument in the open function in order to suppress this blank or empty rows, we can say. Okay, so see, we have two solutions actually. Either we see read operation can be existable only and only if something is written in the file. So before we are performing the read operation, we must ensure that a file exists. So how we will ensure that? We will write contents to the file first. Okay, so firstly we'll perform the write operation, then we'll perform the read operation. So for performing the read operation, we will first write contents to the file. So while writing in the CSV file, if we are using the new line character in the open function, okay, so if you are using this argument in the open function, then you will not face this problem of the blank rows coming in the output. But if you are not interested in using this new line in the write mode, then what you can do, you can use this /n/r and /n, okay, in the read in the open function while you are performing the read operation. Okay, so either use new line with the blank data, means there should not be any data in the blank new line argument. In the blank form you need to use it in the write operation when it is being performed. Okay, or what you can do, you can perform the means you can add the new line argument with this value /r/n, because we have just seen that for Windows the end of the line value is value for the new line argument is /r/n. Okay, so either you write when you are reading the file, then you can add this new line value as /n/r/n. Okay, otherwise what you can do, while performing the write, you can use this new line with no value inside it. Okay, I'll show you practical also for the same. Okay, so you will be much more clear about it. So let me show you the practicals. So here I am with the same program. So this is a program that will help me to read and write the contents of the CSV file. Okay, here I am using the write rows. Okay, and the reader function will be using it. So here firstly we are importing the CSV module, then I have defined a function named write function. Okay, this write function will write the contents to the CSV file. So firstly we need to open the file. Okay, so for opening the file we need to specify the name of that file, and the extension should be .csv. Okay, and this has to be opened in the read mode, write mode, because we will be writing the contents in the file. Okay, and this is the writer object of this writer function. Okay, this writer function will be adding that delimiters, and which delimiter we have specified, semicolon. By default the delimiter is comma, but we want key data should be separated by this semicolon delimiter. So this semicolon delimiter will be placed in between all the data that we are going to insert. Okay, like this data will be entering student name, student roll number, and student marks. So in between these data, which delimiter will be there, it will be separated by semicolon. Okay, so this writer object will put this delimiter in the data that we are going to enter. Okay, so we are going to write it row by row. So this writer function will take up the first row, and this will put the heading actually. Okay, name, roll number, and marks. Okay, so when we are opening our notepad file or Excel file, you can see this type of heading exists. We have seen this in the previous video also, right? So this is the heading for that particular data that we are going to insert. Okay, so we have created a list here. Okay, so our data will be entered in the form of a list. Okay, so this is actually a nested list, because when we are using this while loop will ask us to enter the data of as many students as we want. Okay, firstly this while loop will be false only when you will say no, I don't want to enter any data. Okay, if you say no, I want to enter data, yes, if you will keep on pressing yes, I want to enter more record, it will allow you to enter the record of that those students. Okay, so it is totally dependent upon you how many records you want to enter. So whatever records you are entering will be entered in the form of a list. Okay, because we have taken here a list, you can see I have used the square brackets. So n is for the name that you are entering, r is for the roll number. Okay, and I am converting this roll number into integer, and I am converting the marks into float. Okay, so whatever input you are giving with the help of this input function will be stored inside this list. Okay, and this list is actually being appended to this list. Okay, actually this is the student record, one student record. Then what we are doing, we have taken a blank student record. This is actually a blank list in which all the records, all the lists of different students will be entered up. So first student record we have taken, where when we are entering inside this while loop, firstly it will ask about this detail for the particular roll number or student, we can say. So whatever record you entered is stored in this particular list sr. So what we are doing, we are putting this list inside this list by using the append function. Okay, once the data has been entered here, it will be stored here. Okay, so then it will ask you that whether you want to enter the record for the second student? If you'll say yes, then again it will ask you to enter the name of the child, roll number and the marks, and this record will be entered inside this list, and this list will be further added up to this list. If you have entered the record of 2 students, so we'll be having 2 lists inside this. So this is actually a nested list. Initially we are keeping it blank at the time of initialization, but it will be appended each time you will be entering the data. Okay, once the all record have been entered, then finally what will happen, that writer function, okay, this writer function will write all the records of this particular list into the file. Okay, and all the records will be separated by this delimiter, that is semicolon. Okay, so once all the records have been entered in the file should be closed. So we have given the file handle the command to close that particular file. Okay, so this was to write the contents in the file. So in this way we have written the contents in the file. Now we'll try opening them, reading them. Okay, so for that we have used the read function. Okay, so the read function, what it will do, it will open that particular file where we have written the contents. Okay, so this read function, open function, will open this particular file in the read mode. Okay, I told you here either you use new line argument here, or you can use the new line argument here. Okay, so if you are writing the new line argument here with no value, so that is also okay. If you are not using the new line argument here, then it should be written here. So it is your choice whether you want to write this new line argument in the read mode, or whether you want to write this new line argument in the write mode. So I'll show you both. So with the help of both, you will get same result. Means if you are putting it here or putting it here, you will get the same result. Okay, so firstly we will be removing it, okay, so that we may see if we are not putting it, then what happens. So this I have removed. Here also it has not been used, here also it has not been used. Okay, so file has been written, and we are opening that file, and this sorry, here it should be reader object. Okay, it should be reader object, and here it should be again the reader object. Okay, so this reader object will actually help you to read the contents of this file. Okay, so reader object will actually remove the delimiters that were put when this student.dat file was stored. Okay, so this is particularly asking you to read the contents row by row. Okay, so every time the data is to be read, it will be reading it row by row, and then it will be printing it out. So these are the function definition. This is for writing up the contents, and this is for the reading of the contents of the file. So once the data has been written, then we are performing the read operation. So firstly the writer function is called, and then the read function is called. Okay, so when we'll run it, we will get the output with the empty blank rows. Okay, so when we'll run, you will see the screen like this. Okay, so here we need to enter the name, and let me take one name, roll number and marks he has scored. Okay, now I want to enter more data. Yes, so next record you need to enter. Fine, name and then roll number and then marks she has scored. So this time I don't want to enter any other record. So you see we are getting this blank rows unnecessarily. We don't want these records, and this is the header. You see, I told you this the heading, this is just for the heading of this particular content, like name will be there, then roll number and marks. So this is referring to the name, roll number and marks. Okay, so this was just for the heading, and here you are entering the data. You have entered the data for 2 students, and that has been printed like that, and with the blank rows, and we don't want this blank rows. So if we want to suppress these blank rows, what we need to do, we need to either write here new line argument with the blank values. Okay, either you write it here. Now I'm saving it, and then again when we'll run it, you will see now it is asking me to enter the name. like this time I'm writing this, roll number this, marks this. Yes, I want to enter more. Then student name. Okay, now the roll number. Okay, and marks he has scored. Now I don't want to enter further. So now you see there is no blank space in between. Okay, so either you write new line here, okay, or if you don't want to write new line here at the at the writing time, then what you can do, you can write it here at the reading time. But in reading time you cannot keep it blank, you need to write data, that is /r/n. Okay, so I'm saving it and then I'm running it. So this time also you will not get any error. Okay, so the marks he has scored, yes, I want to enter more. Name of the child and then roll number and then marks he has scored this. I don't want to enter further. So you see this time also you have not obtained any blank space. So in order to suppress this blank rows that are coming, either we use this new line argument here in the read mode, but when we are using in the read mode, then we have to supply this /r/n argument, that is for the end of the line. Okay, just to suppress that extra additional lines. Okay, and otherwise what you can do, you can use new line character here. So it is totally your choice. I hope the concept is clear to you. Okay, so revise the concept and do the practical. Thank you so much.